thank you everyone for joining us today. We're really excited. This is definitely going to be a little bit of a different ticket playbook. And reason being is that, we have been in our seat here at Spinzo, kind of watching everything unfold in our industry for the past 7 or 8 months, right? And we've been able to see what's been happening across 3 different countries with different teams and different leagues. And a lot of this has brought us back to really understanding, the challenging reality that we're in right now, but yet knowing that this is actually a really pivotal moment. And if we do the right things, we can get ourselves out of this mess and really get back to where we were before. So before we dive in, for those of you that don't know me, if you haven't joined the Ticket Playbooks, or if you joined the Ticket Playbook, you know who I am. My name is Denise Sicheneder. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Service with Spinzo. Today, as well, my colleague Emmanuel is going to go ahead and speak, so I'll let Emmanuel quickly introduce himself before we jump in.
Yep. Hi, folks. I'm Emmanuel Elmajian. I'm the CEO of Spinzo. I come at things from the tech side, but glad to see you all here, and hope you'll enjoy our little address.
Perfect. So let's dive in. So, we are really at a crossroads in our industry. But I think before we jump into the crossroads that we're at, I think it's really important for us to step back and talk about why do people love live events and what we sell, right? And at the core of all of it is that people like to be a part of the spectacle, right? They like to be a part of this thing that is bigger than them. And what does that look like in each one of our venues, right? In a soccer stadium, it's that, 35,000 people singing, and chanting that team's song, or 37,000, depending on what that capacity is. It's that huge group of people. You go to Fenway and it's 35,000 people singing Sweet Caroline. And if you've ever been a part of it, there's nothing like that, right? It's just this euphoric moment. When you're in a NFL stadium, it's those 82,000 fans and they're deafening cheers. And, it depends on the venue you're at, but it really makes the event, right? If you're in an NHL arena, it's those 20,000 boos towards the referee for that call that didn't go the team's way. And then jumping into the NBA, it's those 18,000 people jumping out of their seats with a buzzer beater, and there's nothing else like it. Or at your favorite concert, when your favorite singer stops mid-song, knowing full well that all 30,000 people in attendance will pick right up and they know every single word. And those moments are the ones that give us goosebumps. It's the noise meter at its breaking point, right? It's your favorite mascot diving into a row of fans and being carried throughout the stadium, right? It's the packed venue where everyone agrees now's the time to do the way, right? And they throw their hands up, and it only takes a few seconds and everyone's into the mix. It's that banter between your seat partner because you guys disagree about the trade that was just made, right? It's that chance to inadvertently spill beer on your seat partner. And we've all been there where we've gotten beer spilled on us, right? It's that sulking when you walk out because your team's lost and you can tell, those people that are devastated. It's that choosing between whether we're gonna go to McDonald's or Burger King if the team wins or loses, right? Which one's better or worse? Not really sure, but it's those types of moments. It's enjoying the game with your colleagues, your youth sports teammates, your church congregation, your college friends and classmates. It's with the Alumni Association, it's a professional association, it's a dance troupe, it's a scout troop. It's being a part of something. It comes down to FOMO, that fear of missing out, right? If we're not there at that event, something big happens, we're gonna miss out on that. So why do people love what we do? Why do people love what we sell? Because they wanna be a part of a spectacle.
That's very true, and I've enjoyed those times and I've missed those times. But now we have to come down to reality, folks. There's a problem. Much of that spectacle is lost. And the impact is becoming obvious. And for many of you, you know what's going on. Teams that are currently selling are unable to sell even 10, 15, 20% of their venue. Can't sell the seats in many cases. There are many NFL teams right now with seats available on their primary platform right up until game time, if you check it out. You know, everyone thought that this limited inventory would be sold in minutes to season ticket members, but that's just frankly not the case. Secondary market seats, if you check up on that, they're going for below primary pricing in the same row, significantly below primary pricing. The reality is not pretty, but it is the reality. But in the meantime, to make matters worse in all of this, the at-home experience is improving drastically. Broadcasters are offering new camera angles, new audio feeds. Sponsors are pushing new virtual contests you can participate from home. Sports betting is exploding, as we all know, prompting fans to follow multiple games at once. You can't do that at the live event. They want to have multiple screens open at home. This is all happening. Big screen TVs are getting better, 1080p, 4K, 8K. They're getting cheaper even. So, I mean, really, the at-home experience is getting better. The broadcasts are becoming way more accessible. Gone are the days where you had to be in market to see your game. Through NBA League Pass, NHL Live, NFL Game Pass, you can now watch basically any game you want for a pretty reasonable price. Food delivery, blowing up. It's not just about pizza anymore. You want tacos at midnight, ice cream at midnight? Sure, you got it. So the pandemic has made people a lot more comfortable with their at-home setup, being able to order Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash. You know, why would you go out when you can lounge in comfy clothes among friends? And you know, this especially speaks to the Gen Z crowd, those that were born in the mid 90s or so onward. There's this demographic shift toward them being a lot more comfortable at home. And it's something that as an industry, we need to be cognizant of. Because at the end of the day, who loves long bathroom lines anyway? So the reality is that habits could be changing. They appear to be changing. They could be. And this is concerning for the future of live events attendance and pricing. And if you think that's not alarming, you just need to think about a few past examples that were in similar situations. Let's talk Blockbuster. Blockbuster suffered spectacular collapse when they failed to realize that people preferred the convenience of watching a movie and choosing a movie without ever leaving their couch. Blockbuster had two options at the time. They could build a streaming service to compete with Netflix, number one, or number two, they could have done something amazing to enhance the in-person buying experience. They should have done both, but they only did one. They built the streaming service, and even that was too late. As far as the in-person experience goes, their popcorn couldn't save them. People thought Blockbuster had years of survival ahead of them. Turns out they had weeks. You see, in business, once the model flips, there's big trouble. Another example that's even more akin to live events is the movie theater industry. A lot of people don't realize this was already starting to fail before the pandemic, before any of this started. Why? People, especially the younger Gen Z crowd, started to become uninterested in paying extra dollars to see something that they could watch for free or near free later. Even seeing a movie at a theater gave them advanced access to something. It's like special, exclusive, early access. Even that wasn't enough. So just to reiterate, these movie theaters were already starting to fail before the pandemic. So what are they doing now? Let's look. They're trying their best to reinvent the movie-going experience, to make it unrivaled versus watching at home. They have to do it. It's a matter of survival. See, going to a sporting event is truly a fantastic experience, but there's an additional problem when you compare it to the movie-going experience. At the movies, at least you're getting that exclusive early access to something. For sporting events, you're getting something that you can literally watch at home comfortably with friends with little to no cost. So make no mistake about it. What's happening right now in our industry is a direct competition between live events and the at-home experience. And the reality is that the at-home experience has the momentum as it stands right now. So we don't want this to be all about doom and gloom. We really want this to be a call to action. If we want to fix things and turn things around so that when things come back, we don't suffer a multi-year lag or worse, you know, what's happening with movie theaters or Blockbuster, we need to be smart. We need to be bold, creative, and we can win this back. But there's one more issue that I want to discuss: staffing. Not a day goes by you don't hear of another team, venue, or promoter, cutting staff. Morale is extremely low. People don't even know what to focus on anymore for long-term success in this industry. And laid off employees are leaving the industry entirely, going to take their talents elsewhere. The remaining ones are going to have to be the ones to fix it. And if you're on this call right now, it means that you're up for the challenge, or you wouldn't have joined this call, frankly. It means you're up for the challenge. So let's summarize the issue before we get into some solutions. In our mind, there's a perfect storm of issues going on right now. Season ticket members, they aren't getting the atmosphere that they once had known with their friends. They also tend to skew a little older, so they are more concerned about health risks. They don't want to tie up money anymore for a whole season pass, 82 games is 41 games. They don't want to do that anymore. Individual buyers, they're not getting that spectacle that they once received for the same price. And they have a fantastic alternative, as we discussed, with the at-home broadcasted experience. Cheap TVs, amazing delivery, comfy clothes, little to no cost. Why bother? So this is a problem. Gen Z, I know it's just coming about now, but it's increasingly a problem. The Gen Z demographic prefer to spend all night on TikTok and Instagram with the game on in the background. It's more of a background activity, the game. For outings, they much rather explore things like microbreweries than go to sporting events. They're entirely comfortable with the at-home amenities that they have and the at-home technology. And finally, as we mentioned, the ticketing workforce, it's being decimated by furloughs, layoffs. Many are seeking jobs elsewhere. We may have to regrow this industry from scratch, as key talent may not be available when things return. And frankly, employment levels won't be the same as they used to, So we have to be mindful of that. We're going to have to do more with less.
Absolutely. But there's a way out of this. And that's why, we wanted to come at this and address what the problem is, and then how do we get out of it? And so we've come up with 5 different ways that we feel like from where we sit can really help drive us out of this mess. First and foremost, my favorite, group sales. Prioritize group sales. And I think most of us walked away from group sales thinking that season ticket holders would actually take all of these seats. Well, we've talked about that experience is not the same. So why are we saying group sales? We're saying group sales because the experience of the camaraderie of being in a group is enough for them. And we can still provide that. Yes, they like the spectacle of the event, but they just want to be together, right? So how do we do that? Still socially distanced, but together. There's a tremendous desire to be together in our society after we've been through what we've gone through. People have gone to great lengths to be together again, right? Outdoor gyms and watching people do, their exercises outdoors together. Whether it's outdoor yoga, we've watched and we've seen those things happen. Whether it's drive-in churches, just for us to be able to get together and worship together. We miss that. We want to be together. Or what I'm living through right now, and a lot of us parents probably are the same, virtual classrooms, for better or for worse, we're bringing our classes together, we're bringing our kids together to be able to teach and educate them, but also for them to see their friends and do their little waves and, hi. They love it. They just want to be together, like all of us. So together at last, people would flock at the opportunity to be together with their groups. We see them going to these great lengths to do it. There's so many people in college that are missing out on college sports. There's sororities and fraternities that are looking for ways to do things. We're hearing from our clients, our teams, that they're talking to companies that all they want to do because they've been working remotely is get together some way. So this can be done safely. And believe it or not, our venues are some of the biggest places in our marketplace. So why can't we have and utilize our space to have socially distanced group events, right? No bar, no restaurant, no movie theater, or other venue can do what we can do. We can be, and you can be, the driving force to bring groups back together. And that's a win for us and for them. Look here, just a quick example, employees and families of State Farms. Imagine a group of coworkers socially distanced together in the same section, giving those air high fives, turning around and pointing at their friend, Emmanuel, who they know loves a certain player. Look at him, did you see what he did? Did you see that, right? And creating that water cooler moment for the next time they jump on Zoom, right? We all jump on Zoom calls and we have that banter right before we get into the meat of the bones. Fan experiences. I know a lot of teams and leagues are saying, no way, we can't do these. We just need to relook at them and reimagine them. Why can't we keep doing pre and post game speaking events in a socially distanced fashion? Why can't we have the national anthem singers be singing from a section together in some way, shape, or form? Our mascots, they're all wearing masks anyways. Why can't we have masked photo or mascot photos, right? I mean, they're safe, they're fully masked. It's just like the masked singer. So we can do some things, we just have to be creative about the way we think about it. And theme nights, bring them back. What a great way to fill a big bulk portion of your venue in a socially distant fashion with people that are all talking and liking the same thing. And if you think about it, if you look at some of these, Star Wars night, superhero night, masks can be included. They're already probably wearing a mask as a part of that. So how do we take some of that and bring people together for the same cause like we used to, but just in a little bit different fashion? Now, attracting the Gen Z crowd, to attack this, I think we have to think differently. We have to think of what do they like? And Emmanuel mentioned a couple of these. Maybe we're doing more packages with some of the places they're already going. Are we reaching out and finding those places? Because Gen Z isn't as worried about the virus. They're not worried about as many of those things. You can see that. So the key is how do we find them where they're at? A TikTok night with live contests, having them do specific dances. Or maybe you unlock some exclusive seating that isn't selling because your season ticket holders aren't taking it, and allowing some buyers to have that exclusive opportunity. Really create this, you can't get this anywhere else as a part of that opportunity. And the key for all of this is that in group sales, we really do have a secret weapon, right? We can gate offers and tailor pricing based on size of group, based on sponsorship, based on relationship. We can gate them based on emails and all sorts of different things. So we truly have the flexibility to fill seats at the price that makes sense for us as an organization and to be able to make this happen. And it's really important when we don't have any understanding of price elasticity in a pandemic, right? So we really can be ultimately flexible to filling those seats in a great fashion and making sure we get people in there. But to Emmanuel's point about staffing, we have to let links do the work for us in many ways. So how do you maximize the platform that you're using to do the work for you? This can be done, and Spinzo can help with this, whether you're doing corporate offers to employees, whether you're doing corporate offers to customers, college, youth sports, dance schools, package, theme nights. There's just so many ways that you can utilize technology to make that happen for you. Here's just a few examples. Here's a corporate example that we have run before, a theme night that we've done through Spinzo. Here's a youth sports example that we've done, and even a package example, as you'll see here, that comes up with Uber, Coors, and the Coyotes. So there's lots of different ways that you can make this happen. So in summary, you've got to go with a groups first strategy. These people want to be together, and it's an easier path for us to fill the seats.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So for our second recommendation, it's a little more technical, but very apropos for the times right now, which is to adopt more innovative social distancing systems. So we really need to talk about this whole pod system right now. The pods were a great way to get us going, once the pandemic started, right? So for those of you not familiar with pods, you basically remanifest your venue into pods of 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, and buyers have to purchase the entire pod if they want to get the seats. The reality is, while it was a good start, the pod model is prone to error. You can't maximize the opportunity, largely because you can't predict the X factor of this pandemic. You don't know how many groups of 2s want to go versus 3s, 4s, and 5s. So we're seeing so many problems right now in the NFL where they're stuck with too many pods of 6s. Then the next game, they made a lot of pods of 2s, and then they had too many pods of 2s. So it's really hard to predict right now. Also, every jurisdiction is going to move at a different pace with regard to opening up venues. So it's going to be very challenging to keep managing this pod-like system, and then you go down from 3 seats to 2 seats. My jurisdiction has cut down the spacing requirements. So what do you do then, right? So every jurisdiction is different. This is going to be an ultimate strain on your ticket operations team. It's immense. They're going to burn out with dealing with these pods. We need a more fluid sales system to maximize buyers and revenue. So Spinzo's taken a crack at it, but there's a lot of other people doing some similar things. which is to kind of expand beyond the pod model that exists right now. So the pod model right now, we like to call it the pre-created strict pod model. But what we're finding is on the day before game day or on game day, there's so many pods available still, pods of 3 or pods of 4. You overdid it on a pod size. So we've created a system at Spinzo, and we encourage the industry to do this as well, a pre-created loose pod model, where you can flip this on maybe 24 hours before the event on pods that aren't selling well, to basically allow buyers to purchase a subset of the pod. So if you're littered with pods of 3s and no pods of 2s, let people buy 2 out of the 3 seats, and the platform will kill the third remaining seat. So that's a small enhancement on pods. But ultimately, where we really think the industry should go is some kind of rules-based dynamic allocation. Forget about pods entirely. No need to pre-assign or pre-manifest the venue into pods. Instead, when a buyer comes, they indicate how many seats they want. The system surfaces them all the available options that are sufficiently socially distant from other buyers. So it's fully dynamic. If you want 1 seat, 2 seats, 5 seats, 8 seats, you will always have options that are sufficiently spaced from other people. So you're not trying to predict in advance the group sizes that come. It's all rules-based. And finally, just to iterate the fact that you can have multiple ways on the rules-based dynamic allocation. We've seen some jurisdictions require venues to only have 2 parties per row. So you could apply a rules-based dynamic allocation to that. Don't even make pods. Just set your venue in this format, and then the system will do the rest. So we really need to get toward this more flexible social distancing technology. Spinzo could help, but we encourage anyone else to also develop similar technology. Our third recommendation is you got to get another technology one, but that's to offer more flexible multi-event buying options. So as we mentioned at the beginning, interest in season tickets, it was already eroding before the pandemic. It's no secret. It wasn't falling off a cliff, but it was eroding. And the erosion will only accelerate at this point with the pandemic and a lot of unknowns in the future. So some more flexible options are needed. The fact is, a lot of buyers no longer want all games. They want a subset of games, maybe 40% of games, 50% of games, 10 games. They no longer want the same seats for each game. Maybe some games they want better seats, some seats they're fine with nosebleeds. They want variety. Buyers no longer want to go to games alone. They want to go to with friends. Some games with these friends, some games with those friends, some games with no friends. So to accommodate these trends, you need flex plans. And I know a lot of teams are doing flex plans, but the reality, so many are doing it wrong. If you're forcing buyers to select all their games at point of purchase, you're doing it wrong. That's not a flex plan. That's just, I'm coming to buy 7 games at once. If you're forcing buyers to phone in to purchase your plan, you're doing it wrong. If you're forcing them to phone in to select their games, you're doing it wrong. If you're not allowing your flex plan holders to combine with others, you're doing it wrong. Or to upgrade seats for a specific game, get more revenue, make the fan happier, you're doing it wrong. And if you can't have a flex plan holder add friends to sit with them or move around, you're also doing it wrong. That's not a flexible system. So we need to adopt more flexible systems. Again, Spinzo has a system here, but other vendors do as well. What we're proposing is a concept where in a flex plan, you purchase the plan, maybe it's a 5-game plan, a 7-game plan, 10, maybe it's variable. But as soon as the buyer purchases the plan, they receive a redemption link and a secret flex code. And that's all they need to go and pick their games from that point forward. They can do it all at once if they want. They can do none of them now. They could do some of them now, some in the future, no problem. The key here is that it's flexible. Any game, they could upgrade to a premium game for an additional price for that game. Any game, they could upgrade their seating zone to a better seating zone for that particular game. Maybe that rivalry they want to watch, in the lower bowl. They can also add seats to any game. And when they add seats, the system moves them around, finds an area where they could add seats for their friends to come. So we think the industry really needs to move toward flex plans. This really will be the new season ticket of sorts. It's something more flexible. You might sell 20-game plans, 10-game plans, 30-game plans. It's just the start of something new. So we highly suggest that the industry move this way.
Absolutely, great points. Number 4, we recommend using insight-driven analytics to make decisions. This is so important. We don't know where or how fast things are going to go as we come out of this. So number 1, you need to know where your buyers are coming from. Going to a big event is there's so many logistical challenges, right? Travel time, traffic, all of those things can be a burden. So we need to understand where people are coming from. We can, if we understand where they're coming from, better target them with ads. We can announce in-area visits. We can actually target our fan experience or mobile events out there in the marketplace based on where those people are coming. We can even work with our local governments to help with event day traffic if we know where people are coming from. The key is that shouldn't take a huge analytics team to be able to get you this information. And this is just one example from Spinzo Map View. Additionally, you need to know when your buyers are purchasing. And while we don't know and we can't use the X factor of the pandemic to completely understand this, we should be able to start watching trends and being able to understand whether their people are buying early or people are buying late. Are people planning for this, or when are they more apt to purchase? How much are they spending? How much is that sweet spot of what our buyers are buying through us? And again, it shouldn't take a huge analytics team to do this. And that's why things like Smart Charts with Spinzo are there. Last, was your promo link shared and was it a hit? I mean, the biggest challenge. Do you ever sit back and you're like, wait, we sent that link to a company of 5,000 people. Why is it not sold tickets? Do people just not like our product? I guarantee that's probably not the case, right? It's because we're not doing efficient tracking of what's happening with our link and having that instantaneous understanding of what's going on with it. So our sales slow due to the opponent, due to the day of the week. Where is your traffic coming from? Are you able to quickly and easily, with the links that you send out, understand if you send it out to 5 different places, do you know which is actually performing and where you should put your time and effort? It's 2020, and it's imperative for us to understand conversion rates across over time and also across multiple channels. And being able to have this at your fingertips is an essential as we continue to sell in the marketplace that we're at. And all of this goes right into sales velocity, right? We need to know what's happening when, and things in ticket sales happen fast. Sometimes we don't have time to refresh a report, right? We need to know what's going on up to the second. Like literally the second. How many people are viewing? How many people are buying? Is something running out of inventory? Do we need to fill inventory? Because if a buyer comes and there's nothing available for them, how many of those buyers actually come back to look later, right? They assume it's sold out and walk away. That could be detrimental to us as we move forward. You need to have real-time reporting that's fluid and updatable live that can be on TV screens or on your second screen so you know what's going on. And that's what Spinzo real-time reports do.
Mm-hmm. I love the analytics capabilities we have, and I like seeing what's going on with the industry, kind of this additional push toward analytics and insight-driven decision making. Our 5th and final recommendation for the industry is that we need to modernize our human resource strategy ultimately. Let's be real. These staffing levels and ticket sales may not be the same for a very long time. If you had a group sales team of 10, you might need to manage with 4 going forward. If you had a premium sales team of 8, you might need to manage with 3. And if you're a small team and you only had 3 or 4 in your whole sales workforce, you might be it going forward. That's it. So even if there's a willingness to staff up fast, a lot of the talent is leaving the industry. And so we're going to have to do things a lot more efficiently. So, as I said, if you're on this call, whether you're furloughed, laid off, you're still hanging in there, you can be part of the solution. A smaller group of us in this industry will take that torch going forward and chart a more modern path to get things done. Did you ever think for a moment how inefficient it is to have 4 professional sales teams in one city, professional sports teams in one city, each with dozens of sales staff? So now we're talking over 100 staff. They're all going after the same companies. They're all going after State Farm, Deloitte. They're going after the same schools, the same dance studios, the same sponsorships, all the same thing. Did you ever think how inefficient it is for sales reps to contact buyers one-on-one to make a sale? In 2020, where there are countless ways to use tools to discover and attract interest from the internet and social media, you have a strong brand. There's a way to leverage that strong brand. Like you look at the biggest brands in life, they're not going and phoning people one-on-one. They get inbound demand. We got to be smarter about that. Did you ever think how inefficient it is to have your box office staff manually go order by order, trying to adjust things just because the sales team wanted a fancy or complex offer? It can't be like this going forward. We can't do these manual tasks. We need to find a way to automate these so we can focus on the bigger picture strategy. So all of these things can be accomplished with modern tools like Spinzo and other vendors, and just a new rethought approach to human resource strategy. We essentially need a new engagement model. So what we're thinking is we need to have some kind of multi-team pot of resources. If there are multiple sports teams in a city and multiple venues, we need to find a way to work together for the greater good. Create some kind of pod of resources or some kind of tools to collaborate. With regard to tools, maybe they are separate, but maybe there are ways to collaborate together. Maybe one focuses on corporate, but can kind of sell both teams or 3 teams or 4 teams, and the other does the same for schools, for example. We need tools like this. We need to be able to share prospects on national and regional accounts. At Spinzo, we encounter so many of our teams that have great relationships at the level, and those national companies want to work with other teams, but no one's reached out to them. And I'm just thinking there's inefficiency all around. We need to also collaborate on best practices, as we are right now. If this industry is to both survive and thrive going forward, we need to be thinking about these things. So one thing we did at Spinzo shortly after the pandemic hit, we created a new brand called Ticket Playbook, where we're hosting all of these community-based discussions. We created this 6 months ago. We've hosted a lot of training sessions. We've posted a lot of training material. We've created an industry forum, a private LinkedIn group. But there's more that we're doing behind the scenes to help transform and modernize how sports teams, venues, and promoters do business. So a lot of what I mentioned around creating these multi-team pods, shared tools, we're working on some of those things. But we're at the point now where we want your feedback. We want your help. So now is the time. In summary of our recommendations, number 1, prioritize group sales. That's key. As Denise mentioned at the onset, a lot of times it's been relegated, to the last item, but really this is your quickest path to success right now, to get a camaraderie together that is maybe a little less focused on the game or event itself and more on the group. Number 2, we need more innovative social distancing systems. We can't stick with the pod model forever if social distancing is going to last for months on end. We need a rules-based approach, dynamic. We can't burden ticket ops staff with these hassles. Number 3, to help counteract the decline in season ticket memberships, we need to offer more flexible multi-event buying options. If they want 5 games, give them 5, 10, 15, but let them be flexible. Let them upgrade their seats when they can, add seats when they want. Let them do this. Using insight-driven analytics to make decisions, you have to at this point. You can't be sitting with Excel sheets for 2 hours just trying to find out, one piece of information. You need tools to help deliver you the insight directly. And finally, as I just mentioned, we truly need to modernize our human resource strategy. We need to find a new way to collaborate together as teams.
Absolutely. So now the call to action, what do you do next, right? First and foremost, as Emmanuel mentioned, Ticket Playbook, we have built as a resource for all of us to work together. So if you've registered for this call, likely you've been through the Ticket Playbook portal, and we recommend that you go in there and start helping, on the forum, get active and join our LinkedIn group and be a part of it. If any of this resonated with you and you want to collaborate more and talk further, please reach out to us at Hello Spinzo, or you can reach out to Emmanuel or I as well on LinkedIn or over email. As we move forward with Ticket Playbook, we are now going to be moving into, instead of discussions just being sharing best practices, let's actually put together some playbooks for you. So starting next week and the following week, we have 2 sessions already booked where we're going to be bringing someone in that can be or that can serve for you as a resource to be able to build a playbook for a specific theme night or a specific group night for you and your venue. So we will go ahead and start with that starting next week. That registration will be up later today on Ticket Playbook. But like I said, if any of this resonated with you or you have any other feedback for us on how we can continue to help the industry and help us get out of this, we highly recommend you reach out to us.
Yeah, please, guys. I mean, this session is not meant to be doom and gloom. It's meant to be an opportunity. Here is our opportunity to modernize how we do business in many ways. And we have a tech company in Spinzo. We're here to help. We're here to collaborate with others, whomever, partners, competitors. It doesn't matter. Now is our chance. I know a lot of you on the call have a lot of ideas. Please reach out to us. We'll share some stuff internally that we're working on, and we'll build a better future for the industry, so that we can get back to inspiring people.
We'll make sure that this slide deck is also available on ticketplaybook.com. I know that was asked directly of me through the chat, so that you guys have this as well. But that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to continuing to collaborate and work with you through Ticket Playbook and Spinzo. Take care.
Thanks, guys.